Call the April 27th City Council briefing and legislative sessions to order. Madam Clerk, would you read the roll?
Council President Beggs.
Here.
Councilmember Burke. Here. Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Present.
Councilmember Mumm.
Here.
Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
Can you find out who is on the phone that's not us?
Call-in user 2.
So we're just trying to figure out who's here. There's a few people who have called in. If you could just tell us your name so we know who you are.
Council President Dusty Fredrickson is here.
Okay, thanks.
Jennifer Hammond is here.
Okay. Okay. That's
Todd Coleman is here.
okay.
Oh, maybe that's Todd. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Ted
everyone.
Harris is called in as well.
Okay. Great. All right. I'll turn it over to you, City Administrator Crago.
All right. Good afternoon, all of you. Good to see you virtually. This is the consent agenda for next Monday, the 4th of May. First up, Mike Ormsby will present the contract amendment with Pacifica Law Group.
Thank you, Mr. Crago, Council President, and members of the Council. This is an outside law firm that we've hired to defend the city, police chief and one of our police officers for action brought against the city and the library for one of the drag queen story hours that occurred last year. This is to increase the contract amount as discovery is just beginning in earnest, and we've had significant discovery and public records requests made on this case. So we wanted to come before the council now and ask for an amendment to our contract. I'd be happy to answer any questions that any council member may have. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Dan Bueller will brief us on a low bid award for Bacon Concrete.
Item 2 is the proposed low bid contract for arterial curb ramp project south with Bacon Concrete of Spokane for $816,101, to which we propose to set aside a 10% administrative reserve. This project constructs curb ramps on streets where the street department has done a grind and overlay in 2018, 19, or 20. It's the companion project with one that was on your agenda 2 weeks ago, which was on the north side. The low bid from Bacon Concrete was approximately $6,000, or about a 1% below the engineer's estimates. 4 of the bids were received. This project is locally funded.
Okay, item number 3, Dusty Fredrickson will brief us on extending the Volt contract for project management.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. This is to extend and fund the Volt contract for the E-Series, supporting the E-Series projects through the end of this year. We're requesting $145,000 to continue project management and technical/business analyst resources that are currently staffing the project.
Thanks, Dusty.
Happy to take any questions.
Okay, item number 4 will be a subrecipient contract with Spokane County. Jennifer Hammond will brief.
Good afternoon, Council. We are requesting approval of a subrecipient contract for Spokane County as part of the JAG 19 Department of Justice Award. The term is October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2022. The amount is $62,744.
Could you remind us what JAG stands for?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head. I apologize, but this is a grant that we've gotten every year for quite a while, and we always split it with the county.
I think, Council President, it's Justice Action Grants, and it's the DEA, FBI, and a lot of the task force funding comes through JAG.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5 is a report from the mayor on claims, payments, and warrants. And item number 6 is the city council minutes. Moving on to the legislative agenda for the 4th of May, Ordinance 35907, which is an SBO related to salary changes. Megan Steinelson will brief.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. I'm bringing forward a special budget ordinance in the amount of $24,116, as a result of range adjustments to 2 positions in the mayor's office. The first is Director, Office of the Mayor, and the second is Constituent Services Coordinator. I did brief these in detail at the prior Finance Committee meeting, and I'm happy to answer any lingering questions.
Councilmember Stratton.
I don't know why we're going to. Better? Okay. Chris, do you have your volume on or anything? I have no idea what's causing that.
Karen. Oh, we're muted.
We set up a sign.
Karen, for some reason you're showing up twice in here, and so maybe if you logged off and came back in, it might fix it. We can't really hear you. Can you try closing the meeting and reopening it?
If she could type her question into the chat box.
Yeah.
Is it any better? No, I have no idea.
I think Hannah was on to something. Maybe if you log out and log back in, because you're logged in 2 times. So that's what's getting feedback.
Is that better?
Yep.
You guys are brilliant.
Yep.
Thank you. So am I okay to ask my question?
You are.
Okay, Megan, thank you so much for being available. I just want to make sure that I have this information correct. So if we look at the position for Director, Office of the Mayor, the current salary that that person is in is a step 6, range 40, and that's $78,738. The proposed is a step 6 in the range 51, and that's $103,898. So the difference there, that raise there, is about $25,160. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then the second one, the Constituent Services Coordinator, step 6, range 22. That person is currently being paid $50,070. The proposed would take that person to a step 6 in the range 32 for a proposed salary of $64,247. And the difference there is $14,177. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the reason we can't start when we do these salary adjustments, the reason that we can't start these individuals on a higher range but a lower step is related to bargaining. Is that correct? So they have to start at a step 6?
Yes, the exempt classifications at the city follow the manager professional A bargaining agreement, and they have negotiated a step-for-step adjustment when the ranges are changed. So the 2 positions follow that contract.
And so then the total then
the change would be about $40,000. And I'm assuming that what is in this special budget ordinance is just for the remainder of this year. Is that why that number is lower?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, those were my questions. Thank you.
Council President, I have a comment.
Yes, Councilmember Mom.
Thank you. I had a brief conversation with Wes Crago about this in terms of, obviously supporting the mayor in what she needs for her staffing, but keeping in mind that when we do this for one side of that house, that we will be looking to her leadership here, especially in the constituent services category, because we have our legislative assistants who do similar work for constituent services, and when we're evaluating what to budget for in 2021, we will need to take that into consideration. And Wes, you can speak to what your response was to me, but that was understood. Is that how you want to characterize it?
I think I'd probably, well, I don't know if I'd characterize it exactly that way, as much as we thought it was very important to follow the process with letting HR determine, based on the job description, what the appropriate salary range would be. I know that the council is working on several staff positions, and that the council president's been working on job descriptions, and I think a good interactive relationship with HR is going to be productive for coming up with the range that council is looking for.
Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate you working with us on this.
Likewise.
Anybody else on that issue? I'm just going to state I'm continuing to work with HR both on these two positions and the other positions, because they're still it's not quite matching up in my mind for similar things, but we'll continue to work. Hopefully we'll get that figured out by next Monday. Okay, next up.
Next up's, I think it's up to you on that one.
Yes, so the next up, we had deferred the tenant and landlord ordinances to May 4th, which at the time seemed like a long time in the future. We have started meeting, and we actually have a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting tomorrow on that, but we are not close to getting there. And rather than have people have anxiety about what might happen next week, even though it's unlikely, I would invite a motion to defer this to another date. And I'm probably going to say about 60 days out. So let me look on that. 8th. So I'm going to.
Did you say?
I'm going to say July 13th, because the 6th is about 60 days, but it's that 4th of July weekend. So I'm looking for a motion to defer both of these ordinances till July 13th.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the deferral? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay. That's deferred. And that brings us to today's agenda.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Did you want to approve the advance agenda?
I do, as it turns out. Thank you. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the advance agenda for May 4th as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, been moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Abstentions? Okay, May 4th agenda as amended is approved. And so I had a quick question. Maybe we're not doing the Post Street Bridge today, or we're not?
We're not.
We're not. Okay. All right, I don't see any changes to the consent agenda.
So
that
is
anyone
that number 9 that we're not doing? Is that correct? Is that the post-street bridge
no.
we're talking about?
Well, back.
No. Number 8 was what I was talking at.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
engineering. Yeah, but 9.
9 is still
Construction is,
going. Okay.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So if you could read the consent agenda.
Okay. Reports, contracts, and claims. Number 1, value blanket with specialty asphalt, Cheney, Washington, for 144,000 pounds of hot pour rubberized crack sealant to be used on arterials and residential streets, not to exceed $125,000. Cost is 0.834 cents per pound on state contract number 012111. Number 2, contract with United States Electric Corporation, Olympia, Washington, for high voltage electrical, technical, and maintenance support services at the waste energy facility from May 1, 2020 through April 30, 2021, not to exceed $90,000. Item number 3 has been deferred to May 18, 2020 agenda. Item number 4, in a local agreement with the City of Airway Heights and the West Plains Airport Area Public Development Authority to develop transportation improvements along the 6th, 10th, and 12th corridor from Craig Road in the City of Airway Heights to Campus Road in the City of Spokane, not to exceed $60,000. Number 5, subrecipient agreement amendments to expand access to coordinated entry, housing, navigation services, and diversion from the homeless crisis response with A, Catholic Charities of Eastern Washington, Spokane, Washington, $141,251. B, Spokane Neighborhood Action Partners, Spokane, Washington, $175,946. Item number 6, report of the mayor of pending A claims and payments of previously approved obligations, including those of Parks and Library through April 17, 2020. Total $5,233,251.27 with Parks and Library claims approved by the respective boards. Warrants excluding Parks and Library total $4,361,880.30. B, payroll claims of previously approved obligations through April 18, 2020, $6,958,628.69. Item number 7, City Council meeting minutes for February 13, February 20, April 13th, and April 16, 2020. Item number 8 will be considered with Resolution 2020-25. Item number 9, bid of Max J. Cooney Company, Spokane, Washington, for Post Street pedestrian and utility bridge replacement, $18,519,557. An administrative reserve of $1,851,955.70, which is 10% of the contract price, will be set aside. Deferred from April 2020 agenda.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Abstentions? Okay, consent agenda is passed. And then that brings us to, it looks like we have a few resolutions. So if you'd like to read the first title of the title of the first resolution.
Okay. Resolution 2020-23, declaring McCoy Power Consultants a sole source consultant and thus authorizing the waste energy facility to directly enter into contract with MPC in lieu of public bidding for maintaining annual compliance with the NERC-FERC reliability standards for a period of 5 years from July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2025, not to exceed $95,000 per year, including tax.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any extensions? Okay, that's passed unanimously. Next resolution and OPR.
Resolution 2020-24, declaring Dresser Rand Company, Seattle, Washington, as sole source provider and authorizing the city to enter into a value blanket order for the maintenance, service, and product supplies necessary for the condensing steam turbine generator drive package. Serial number D0823 for a 5-year period from March 1, 2020 through February 28, 2025. Approximately $100,000 annually without public bidding.
Any discussion or questions about that resolution and OPR? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. And then the final resolution, OPR ENG.
Resolution 2020-25, declaring KPFF Engineering a sole source provider and authorizing contract for the expenditure of approximately $1,210,000 for construction administration of the Post Street Bridge project without public bidding.
Any commentary or questions? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Abstentions? Okay, that passes unanimously. And then before we wind up, I talked with a couple of you over the weekend, and I had some plans to do a resolution in favor of the governor continuing to deploy the National Guard at our food banks, but I'm still waiting for the county's version of it. I'm going to try to do that parallel with that. So we'll probably handle that at study session. And then the other issue many of us have discussed is the emergency declaration from the city regarding moratoriums on rental evictions and notices and foreclosures. The mayor's office and Brian and I are still discussing that somewhat, and we'll take that up again probably on Thursday as well if needed. So hold your Thursday at this point. Anything else for...
Mark, DSP.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
I don't see him on yet.
So we have DSP giving a presentation, and we told them they didn't have to come till 4 because we thought we had more contention than we do. But I'm going to text them. Hang on for a second. Anyone else have any news they want to share with us while we're looking for DSP? Feel free.
Sure. The governor is making announcements. I'm sure you guys are tracking, but I did want to discuss or put out there for golf. I don't know if we've heard back from Garrett on what that means for our golf facilities.
Oh, I know that Garrett's been in working very hard with the maintenance crew on keeping everything ready to open up, anticipating this order. Kind of very similar to what they're doing with the pools, and that just kind of keeping as much as they can, everything ready, kind of in a warm standby mode. So I think Garrett will be getting us a report probably tomorrow morning or earlier. Knowing Garrett, he's going to be jumping up and down with excitement.
So just a small thing, but I heard from some golfers they'd like to schedule. I don't know if we're able to turn the schedule on. That would be important for them. Even though we can't start, we could just put a pending the governor's order or ability to open, but just thought I'd put that out there.
I think Garrett will have that for us pretty quickly. If nothing else, maybe we can make a quick report on Thursday or an email at the minimum to everyone what that will be. But we'll want to get that publicized pretty widely as fast as possible.
Mark, are you on the line? Anyone from DSP? They just emailed us some documents.
Yeah. I emailed.
Oh, yeah, Mark's trying to log on right now. Okay. What was that password again?
0320. I sent it to him.
Oh, okay.
As well. Play a little game.
Okay.
Trivia.
Did the governor include fishing too?
What's that?
Did he include fishing too, or just golf? I think so. Right.
Council President, I'm just following up on this golf. This is such a big piece of revenue.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd tell you that when you look at the proclamation, it says all employees necessary to operate and maintain day use activity and trails, including those in golf operations and day use activities for trails in other public parks and public lands, are authorized to return to work. It's pretty broad.
That's right. Yeah. Wes is asking for jokes, Karen. Do you have any in your repertoire currently?
Okay.
But I don't know if it's with me.
Karen?
Yes?
I actually have a joke.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Why are bugs always... No. Why are frogs always happy?
Why?
Because they eat what bugs them.
Oh, that's so cute.
There you go. My debut of joke telling.
Okay.
Let me take this here. Oh, these aren't very good. I've got a cute one. I wanted to go on a diet, but I feel like I have way too much on my plate right now.
All right.
That would dovetail with my COVID-19 pounds. Thank you.
All right. Give up.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
There's Mark.
Thank you, Mark. We got done just a couple minutes early, so we're ready for you. We'll turn it over to you. And I did note that you emailed us a couple reports. So, yeah.
Yes, I did. And so thanks again for your time. Council, I just, again, Mark Richard with the Downtown Spokane Partnership. The main thing, obviously, I'm going to focus on today entirely, actually, is the things that we've been up to in response to the COVID pandemic, and we are adjusting to that. You have two documents in front of you. You have one, which is a kind of a budget scenario analysis that's pretty detailed. It's probably 11.5 by 14, and it's color-coded for a reason. It's as you open it, if it's now or later, you'll notice some kind of tan boxes that essentially go to highlight those columns in our budget that we have amended in order to make, based upon some assumptions, in order to try to build some scenarios that we can begin to plan on based upon our new reality. And so in that document, you'll see essentially what we have done is Maria worked with myself and our entire team, and then we brought those forward to both boards, kind of three options, option A, B, and C, that are in the middle of that sheet, and then the budget is off to your left, you'll see. And so as you begin to look at this document, you'll begin to see how the changes, the adjustments that we've made. The primary one that I want to draw your attention to is really just this, which is right now we have approximately $198,000 that is outstanding in the form of receivables from our ratepayers, and that includes property owners. Their first half of their assessment, some have not paid anything at all, and of course, the remaining 85%, I think it is, of our ratepayers, or at least the dollar amount associated with those ratepayers, have paid. So we're in good shape, but this contemplates, again, about a 15% potential impact to our bid budget. And so we begin to build some planning scenarios around how we would adapt if we needed to. So the council quarterly report Word document that I've sent you starts with this document, and it begins to walk through, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I'll really just take most of your questions, but essentially, again, lays out exactly how we've done this planning scenario document. It shares with you some of the high notes in terms of those things that we've modified, and then it also goes into the expenses and contemplates some changes in those expenses. Excuse me. So as I mentioned on the revenue side, the most significant change is what we know today is have been uncollected is $198,000. You'll also notice as you go through the document that we contemplated some potential realignment of the use of the SEPTED program, which is listed at the top of your document in the form of revenue, but it's really because we anticipated using a rebate program. So essentially rebating from future assessments, if you will. And then you'll see when you go across the document that we, based upon good counsel from Council President Beggs, is we are proposing that we maintain that program, but it might vary in terms of the amount of money that we keep in that program based upon the success we have in collecting the outstanding assessments. You might expect the next item would be on event sponsorships. You'll see both in the revenue and in the expense side an adjustment because events bring in sponsorship dollars for it that allow us to offset some or all of the cost of those events. Needless to say, because many of our events have been postponed, some have been canceled, that the income as well as the expenses need to be adjusted. And in terms of the actual scenarios, you'll also note that, we're kind of playing it day by day in terms of the events. Right now, we have a list of those that we anticipate continuing to host this year. That will change depending on what happens going forward, obviously. One of the largest changes in terms of expenditures I just want to point out to you is in the area of advertising and marketing. So that particular line item on the expense line is our other than staff salaries, it's our largest individual account. And as a result, it's kind of like law enforcement. If you have to make cuts to your budget, law enforcement is obviously an incredible priority, but because it commands such a high percentage of your budget, you oftentimes don't have much choice but to have to adjust your law enforcement budget when you have to make significant cuts. Not the same, but similar, I guess, in concept in terms of our marketing. Marketing is critical to what we do. We're really promoting downtown. We're promoting the businesses in downtown. It's a critical function of what we do. But again, because it's our largest, most flexible pot of money, we have to anticipate some potential changes to that. But you'll also notice a new line item in red where we are what we're calling or deeming a comeback marketing campaign. The idea being so we plug new money into a program where we would work with our community partners to really develop a robust marketing program to safely encourage our community and the region to support small business, support our downtown. Let's see. I think I'll finish with that, and then I'll just go into the activities real briefly, and then I'll take your questions because I know I'm running short on time here. I really wanted to call your attention to just a handful of things that we have done that are a little different than what we anticipated at the beginning of the year. First and foremost, Liz and Kevin have completely revamped our webpage, and so our webpage now is really much like GSI's and Visit Spokane's and probably yours. It's really become the front door for our customers to see where they can access information and resources. We've been pushing out and pumping out positive stories about our downtown businesses, and they're doing some remarkable things in the middle of this crisis to really tell that story and to make sure that they are top of mind on the customers' minds. We're also helping to connect customers with those businesses that are providing online takeout or gift card purchases. And last count, I think I counted 70 different retail businesses that we have posted on that website. we're driving this campaign of hope, what we call We Will Again. I hope you all had a chance to view it over the weekend, but it's on our YouTube page, and already we received 75,000 views on that particular video. It's just a remarkably inspiring video showcasing, again, some of the amazing people that make up the businesses in downtown Spokane. We are, as you might have seen also this weekend, we are reaching out. Our goal is to touch base with each and every single one of our ratepayers over the course of the next couple of weeks. I think that's 1,300 plus contacts. And our goal is to touch base with them, check in on them, let them know we're here, let them know what resources we're offering, and then ask them what else we can be doing. We're also trying to connect them with this other function that we have on the website called Ask an Expert. This is where we've collected or collaborated with a handful of experts that are in the downtown area in different fields: lending, accounting, legal, other types of professional fields, where they volunteered to take questions. We've already had some great success on this, where we've had individuals ask, where do I go for this particular kind of relief? What else would you suggest in terms of lending opportunities? And we're doing our very best to connect them with the experts that can provide them good guidance. Second to last is that you'll see that our team has been, our clean and safe team have been busy, just in a little bit of a different way. So we have initiated all of our security patrols are now being done in a vehicle, so that our team can remain safe. But as a result of that, they traveled, I think it was over 800 miles just in the security vehicles alone over the course of the last few weeks. And then my clean team has put on about 600 miles on their truck, doing the same thing, taking care of the garbage, removing, I think she mentioned, removed 72 tags, graffiti tags, just in this last short period of time. We've seen a spike in that activity, and so needless to say, we're trying to get right on that. And then finally, I would just close with the fact that, again, all of this effort, how we've really changed and refocused on the social media and pushing out these messages and communicating with the customer of our customer, our ratepayers. We've seen just an exponential growth in our social media as a result of that, and I thought I would share with you some of those good numbers. So that concludes my report, and I would just welcome any questions you might have.
Councilmember Stratton.
I have an easy question for you, Mark.
Yes.
The advertising campaign that you're talking about, are you going to be able to do that in-house, or do you have to contract out for that?
We will absolutely contract out for the production, just like we did with this video. Yeah, so really, Liz and Kevin's work is really just to kind of conceive of the idea and then work with a professional. We do a lot of work with BHW1, for instance, and so whether it's them or the gentleman that did our video, we'll definitely be doing that with the private sector.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Comments? All right. Oh, Councilmember Wilkerson.
Yeah, so Mark, that downtown video is amazing. We will again. Could we share that on the city website, or is that, could we share it with the city website? So
Yeah, absolutely. I think we would be honored if you would share it. We really do think it's a special piece, and would be grateful if you could share that. I think what we're trying to do is not only give our downtown customers hope, but also trying to instill a sense of hope and optimism in the entire community. So please do share whenever and wherever you can.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Mark, thanks for coming. We wish your team the best. Thanks for keeping us cleaner and safer and more vibrant downtown, and we look forward to brighter days ahead. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right. Then again, at this point, we're keeping a study session at 11 on our schedule, and we'll send out an email, but go ahead and start thinking about those streets that you wish were being rebuilt in your districts or maintained better, and we'll set up that meeting with Kevin and learn a little more about those matrices and what tweaks we might need to do to serve our constituents. We are adjourned.